All right, greetings everybody. You do a modlist video and you think everything's locked down, and then you sleep a couple times and like, oh no, everything's changed or we got problems or whatever. So let's deal with things first. First of all, the problem. Profiling-based optimization has caused crash to desktop when you click OK at the start of a thing. It'll say there's an issue with it. And you click OK and you get a crash. Now, there may be other mods that say they're not compatible with this version. Whatever. Those are fine. This is the one that will cause a problem. Now, and I clicked through it may be a problem thing. I had no issue. It worked fine. But there's a number of people, both who have made comments on videos, asked me in Discord, or even made comments on this page itself. So the resolution would be either disable the mod or drop it out of your mod set. I would disable it because the mod author has done some good things, and if he can find more ways to fix what he's got, let him cook, let him make the mod, and then it'll be good again. But if you are having an issue, disable this one first and see if the issue persists. And if it doesn't, this was the culprit. And just disabling it. I mean, that's all you got. You just go in and you click disable. Now it won't load. Simple as that. But if it gets updated, it will still be there. I leave it in there because it's working for me. All right, next issue. Federal Austria-Hungary. This would show up as another one that wasn't updated for 1.7.5. And it's not updated for 1.7.5, but it doesn't really need an update. It's not playing in any area that got overwritten by the 1.7.5 code. So it'll still work. Now, having said that, I don't really see it happening all that often. Is it necessary? Not really. Especially if you've got the Balkan flavor mod, which was it was Greece, Byzantium, and Balkans is the name of that one. I didn't even care about Austria-Hungary yet once that thing started popping off and splitting around the Ottoman Empire. Then got a little crumbliness in the Austrians as well. It was fantastic stuff. So if you feel better not loading it, then don't load it. Don't include it. Remember, my mod list is not something where it says you must do it this way. It's like, hey, I'm making suggestions, and if they're not working for you, get rid of them. Put something else in, take them out. It's your call. But yeah, this is one if you just want to make sure they're all working fine, you don't have to have it, honestly. Better decrees. Now, this is one where someone made a comment saying that this was way overpowered. I'm like, really? Because I need this. If I'm playing France and I get the Pebrine epidemic and I've got all these, and I've got more than just my silk territory. I've got other parts of the world that are growing silk and I've got to cure them. I need a lot of cheap decree power to get the encourage agricultural growth thing that I have to do to beat the journal entry. Pain in the neck. So this really helped that. And there are a few others where, like, oh no, we got to pass disaster relief. Oh no, the famine has spread. Pass another one. Really? Okay, fine. Let me cancel some taxes, get some decrees. We good? Okay, cancel the decrees, get back to the taxes. And for larger nations, that may be a viable strategy where you're going to get more tax for your, like, you spend 100 on a tax and you're going to get more economic benefit than if you spend the same 100 on decrees. So you'll say, okay, well, obviously this is better. I'll go with that. But if you're a smaller country, and this is where he was coming from, as Belgium, you spend that 100 on a decree to, say, increase throughput on your factories, industrious little Belgium. You spend 100 there, and that's going to be way more benefit to your economy than spending 100 on of what will be very small amount collected in a consumption tax. Absolutely, you go with that decree. And this, by making those very decrees much cheaper and in some cases stronger, means that you will get way more benefit. You will be able to play as a very overpowered small country with this. So the caveat is, if you are not using decrees all that much because you're playing larger countries and they're kind of a nuisance, this is a great mod for you. If you're playing small countries and you can't live without decrees because they make the game so much more beneficial, then this is a bit of a cheat. This is like saying make your divisions 50% stronger or something, and and for a small country, that that impact is very large. Use this advisedly. That's my thing there. And if you don't like it, don't load it, obviously. Next one, the yeet pop fragments. This raised a few eyebrows because some people loaded it and go, "Hey, what happened here? How is it that all my people had all this variety before and now it's really cut down?" Like this sample shows here. You've got all these cultures and then woof, and all these religions and woof. You turn it on, it's gone. If this is breaking your game immersion, you're breaking your fun with the game, then don't use it. Or don't use it at the beginning of the game. I checked on the comment from the author. He says, yeah, you can add it mid-game and be fine. So when do you use it? Well, play the game, and when you think, wow, this is going really slow, I should consider a mod that might improve my performance. Yeah, then fire it up. Flatten everything, and you go forward with your game. If performance matters. If the populations matter to you and you want to have all that detail no matter how slow your game runs, well then this is not for you. I use it because I want things to go fast, fast, fast. And I really don't see the value being provided by keeping all of those tracked. I think having the majority populations tracked is important because that determines if we have a secession movement or not. The rest is like, eh. And the religions, if they're devout Catholic or devout Protestant, it doesn't seem to make much difference. I don't know. Maybe I didn't read the code that well, but at any point, I'll get devout if I have religion there. And so it'll flatten things out. Again, if you don't want it, just disable it and then turn it on later in the game if you think you need it. Just have it around. Next one, Gilded Age. Now this leads to some big changes in the game itself. Big ones. And I love it. There's a lot of other people who love it, but it makes some major changes. I should probably start with actually going with these and not just letting it be on a scroll through. First one here, the French demographic crisis. This is going to be a malice on France's demography. So I like this better than what the ultra historical demography does. I just do. So I use this. The catch is that if you want to play Velvet Empire style, where you just peacefully expand your realm with diplomacy and all that, it's going to break here because one of those reinvigorate French society and reinvigorate French borders or whatever. You got for one of there's two things you have to do to beat the demographic crisis. One is make the Catholic Church really strong, and the other is conquer or come into possession of 4 of 6 defined areas. Now, 2 of those you can pick off of Savoy, or Savoy and Nice. You pick those off of Sardinia, Piedmont through diplomacy and getting an obligation from them. Got that easy. But then the others, Western Switzerland, Baden, Rhineland, or Wallonia, you're not going to get those by asking nicely. There will be some conquest or assimilation of a puppet or whatever involved in getting those. So there will be blood. I think I understand where they're going with that. That by showing French prowess in battle against the neighbors and getting out to our natural borders and having the Catholics in charge and they advocate strong families, yeah, that could be a thing that gets it. So that way everybody's not sitting around in cafes just smoking along going, what has happened to us the children? We have no more children these days. We just have the philosophers and the ennui. There's no tobacco in here because, remember, tobacco kills, especially weaklings. But, strong people can die of it too. Anyway, I'm not going to advocate tobacco use. I just advocate fake pipe usage. But as I'm saying, if you don't complete those things, then everybody's sitting around in the cafe wondering, where are the children? Where have they gone? So that's a big change there. Another one, next one they show you here. Yeah, you're going to get some action in your Balkans. You can see there's a Bulgaria, a funny-shaped Serbia. Montenegro has completed itself. Hungary, or Austria-Hungary took over Bosnia. This is Greece is even getting a little, grabby there. This is the second, or sorry, this is the Russo-Turkish War that in 1878 or so kicks off and gets things going hot in the Balkans. But all through it, it's able to do some things. Now I've also got another Balkan mod that runs on top of this, so it's a little bit of a duel that happens. But overall, everything plays out, and I think it does things pretty well. Italy forming up. You can see Sardinia spread out and actually took Lombardy instead of having it be in rebellion against Austria. Sardinia just said, hey, we took it. What of that? And it gets Italy to form more effectively. Much better borders in Africa for colonization, although Congo is, well, anyway. I didn't get to that part yet. But I did get to where the issue that we'll have, and let's go forward a few slides here. That's it. So what will happen? You see a little bit of colonization here, and Belgium gets that. Nothing going on here. Well, what the Gilded Age mod will do is it puts a malice on colony expansion in Africa until basically around 1884, when it was historically possible. So no more expansion into the interior, no more knocking over little African countries on your way to colonizing the whole of Africa. Now it is a true scramble for Africa. That mechanic I loved tremendously. Fantastic stuff there. But so if you're expecting to colonize through Africa at the beginning, no, you're going to get the little bit on the coast, and that's it until much, much later in the game. But that was great. And it will result in cleaner borders. You're going to get claims on where you colonize, and you'll be able to take those out. Where you don't have a claim, you don't colonize. Where you have a claim, you do, and you get pretty borders as a result. Although some of these look kind of weird, but I don't know. Anyway, and Ethiopia will also unify in this. Does some stuff with Spain. They have their little wars at the beginning. Shows German Empire forming. And yeah, there's a number of other events that will kick off. So it's not just, hey, wow, I got it done by 1851. It'll cook along, and when you need an M's dispatch to try to draw the French into attacking you, it'll work, because I was playing France. I got the M's dispatch and was very outraged at the Germans and realized if I backed down, it would be a huge problem in my country. Lots of radicals. So yeah, we went in, we got in, and that war started very quickly. I had just enough time to put in one war demand and then got it. But even though Germany had been knocked down to a minor power, had lost the Zollverein, it had come back up to major power status and was launching the M's dispatch to get me to go in on them. All the little Germanys joined with big Germany, or with big Prussia, on the fight. Had they won, I think they would have unified. And that's actually a really good thing to see, that this German unification doesn't end simply because you knock Prussia down. They can come back. I like that. They got spunk. Ottoman Empire getting the Levant. This was the Levant crisis in 1840. And instead of it just being an event that says, put an interest in Arabia, there we go. No, it actually will solicit all the great powers to either side with Egypt or side with the Ottoman Empire. Spoiler alert, most will side with the Ottoman Empire. If you pick Egypt, you'll either have to back out of a war or get very embarrassed. And yeah, the Turk conquered that area, and Egypt is properly shaped as a result of that. That was, and I'll just say that I didn't really feel like things were being railroaded. Maybe the M's dispatch was a bit railroady, but the rest of them do have things where they're saying, "Hey, let's see about what's going on here. with our situation. And yeah, Bolivia, Peru, they got some better South American wars. I didn't really watch that area, so I can't comment there. But it does kick things off there. This is the Crimean War that happens. This is separate from I've got another mod that does Balkan flavor, and yeah, but this was the Crimean War will actually kick off where if Russia Russia gets to a point where it says, hey, we need to push to make more Slavic nations here carved out of the Ottomans, and then the rest of the world says, no, you shouldn't. War happens, you get a few claims in, and you fight a Crimean War. And yeah, that was nice. And it didn't feel railroad. It wasn't happening, boom, right on time. It was Russia met conditions, and then things happened. And I'll say that there are some conditions in the game, like France taking over in Mexico, or the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. They didn't fire because actually in the game, Mexico was already in my power block, so there was no need to bring them in. They were already there. And because the USA never had a war with Mexico, there's no Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo because there's no border to settle. That was nice. Yep, this is the East India Company will be aggressive against the Sikh Empire, and they'll have a war there. Also going in on Burma, but then taking all these guys up with the doctrine of lapse and becoming the proper Raj that we knew. I won't say know and love, but yeah, it does that. And I saw that already. And yeah, it has things for fixing the United States so that way it runs properly, but I use the Hail Columbia mod to get my US flavor in. So I don't have that. But if you don't want Hail Columbia, you want just Gilded Age, that's fine. But it will do, like I said, it will do things that could impact your colonization is the biggest one there, and then the unification plays are also going to be big there. So beware on that. Next one is this guy. I've added a mod, GDP ownership display, and you click on it and you see, oh my gosh, I can see how much of my own GDP is domestically owned. That's the first number. And then how much of the money I'm making every year, my gross domestic product, is actually coming from foreign ownership, and I'm just bringing the profits back home. So in this case here, yeah, England has got, about 6-7% of their economy is foreign owned, and they get a lot of money. 77% of their GDP is coming from their ownership of foreign companies coming back in there. It is a wonderful mod. It will show you when you hover over the ownership things, it'll say, hey, here's, like, this is the British. What do they own? Well, they own 24% of the British East India Company, 5% of the German Federation, 30% of Indore, 30% of da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's what they got there. Great information. Should have been in the base game. Oh well, now it's in a mod. The next mod that I loaded in was Recruit 5 Commanders. I don't like having a choice of 3. I want a choice of 5. And it also expands the selection pool to 10. So there's going to be 10 commanders in the pool. It pulls 5 out of that. You pick them. And this way, if I've got, like, I've had the situation before where, like, I've got 3 commanders and they're all from interest groups that I really don't want to give more power to. And then I pick one, and then I get one that comes, and then the replacement is from an interest group that I have no problem with or like. And then I just keep selecting in that one and wait for the other 2 to drop out. Well, with the 5, you'll have less sour and more sweet in your selections. So that's a really good thing there. And then some mods changed names because they changed their intent. Know when to fold them is now know when to hold them. And if you're familiar with the Kenny Rogers song, you know that both lines are in the chorus. So it started off as know when to fold them because the AI needed help in surrendering when all hope was lost. So that's been done. But now the AI also needs a little bit of help in holding on if there is a hope of survival. In a recent game I played, I was France, and I was backing a Dutch rebellion against the big guys that were running it. The rebellion went down to minus 100 very quickly. But they're my protectorate, and I had a very large army, so they stayed on. They held on. They didn't capitulate, and I was able to continue the fight and eventually win. So that's good. So now it's know when to hold them. And when you start your game, you may get an error message saying, hey, we don't have know when to fold them anymore. No, you don't. You have know when to hold them. The name just changed, and the functionality is still there. Your game will be stable. And another one that changed used to be stop helping me. Now it's defensive capture or defensive recapture nerfed. Anyway, if you want to recapture land, you have to go on the offensive, and then the stop helping me logic is built into this. It's fine. You'll get an error, and you just load it, and the error will go away. But the big one coming back to the front here is if you have a crash, this is likely to be it, because we are seeing reports on the mod page. Let the guy do his work, disable it for now, and you can come back. Whew. So that should be all I need to talk about mods for this week, I hope. I hope all your mods load properly. If you have any questions, come by the Discord server, and we'll be happy to chat and discuss with you there if you want to get things working. Anyway, I need to go start a Prussian game or finish my French one or the other. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.